It was an examination, merciless, deliberate, and heartless, within the hush of a marble-tiled manor, under a sparkling crystal fixture, and accompanied by the gentle rhythm of a vintage timepiece. A vault remained conspicuously ajar in the master's private office. Within its depths, stacks of currency sat arranged like emerald blocks of enticement, gleaming alongside strands of precious metals and jewels. He was certain she would traverse this space. He understood her routine to the exact moment. The gentleman, a wealthy magnate of considerable fortune, remained concealed just past the corridor's entrance, gaze focused, not with fury, but with silent expectancy. Nevertheless, as he observed his domestic worker enter the chamber and hesitate before the exposed vault, he could never have predicted that the event about to transpire would completely devastate him, revealing a soul he hadn't realized he still possessed. If you have faith in new beginnings, in the subtle influence of compassion, and the force of moral fiber that can transform destinies, then stop at this moment. Appreciate this content. Follow Untold Story 0.4 and distribute this narrative. Allow the world to discover that honor continues to flourish in corners where observation ceases. The domestic worker was called Camilla, 32 years of age, graceful, quiet, possessing rich chocolate eyes that bore the burden of tales she kept unspoken. She had served within the Ashworth residence for slightly more than 7 months. A bereaved woman with twin young daughters and an ailing mother fighting a terminal illness, Camilla embodied the type of person who navigated through suffering without sound. Each dawn she appeared before daybreak, securing her raven hair into a neat arrangement, donning her modest work attire, and commencing her duties without protest or delay. To the majority, she remained unseen, a phantom behind polished serving pieces and gleaming stone surfaces. However, to Alexander Ashworth, the withdrawn millionaire who had inherited riches but never discovered tranquility, Camilla represented an enigma that had started to consume his thoughts. Alexander had devoted most of his existence to constructing and safeguarding his financial domain. Individuals had robbed him, deceived him, exploited his generosity. His former spouse claimed substantial wealth during their separation. Previous staff members diverted resources. Companions became profit seekers. Consequently, he erected barriers, metallic ones surrounding his treasury and sentimental ones protecting his emotions. Upon Camilla's arrival, something distinct emerged about her character. She offered no false praise. She posed no inquiries. She never remained in spaces beyond necessity. Moreover, she maintained, according to every document and investigation, an impeccable record. It troubled Alexander how her truthfulness seemed almost menacing, too virtuous to believe. This prompted him to create the examination. One Wednesday dawn, precisely before her appointed time to clean the office, Alexander orchestrated the vault to remain unsealed. He had directed his security personnel to temporarily deactivate the corridor surveillance. No individual would witness this instance except himself. He desired to observe Camilla's actions when confronted with inconceivable temptation. Would she weaken? Would she steal? Or was she genuinely as steadfast as she seemed? Camilla stepped into the chamber precisely at 8:42 in the morning. She failed to detect the vault initially, not until morning light struck the metal door and reflected a beam across the polished surface. She halted mid-stride, her cleaning tool motionless in her protected hand. Her gaze moved to the vault, then swiftly to the passageway. Nobody present. Complete silence. Her breathing faltered. For an extended moment she remained motionless, studying the open safe as though uncertain whether to trust her perception. Alexander's pulse accelerated. He observed as she advanced slowly, cautiously. Her digits lingered just above the currency stacks, then contacted nothing. Rather, she retrieved the cleaning cloth secured in her uniform and gently commenced polishing the vault's rim, taking care not to stain or disturb a single stack within. She failed to calculate the money. She didn't survey the area with greed. She merely removed the dust from the steel with identical care she applied to every other area in the residence. Then something unforeseen occurred. Camilla withdrew from her pocket a small creased photograph, worn and aged. She checked the hallway once more as though requiring confirmation of her solitude and positioned the image on the ledge beside the currency. The photograph captured 2 young girls, approximately 7 and 5 years old, beaming before a hospital bed where an elderly woman rested with a fragile smile. Camilla murmured something so quietly that even concealed Alexander couldn't distinguish her words. Then tenderly, she retrieved the photograph again, pressed it to her lips, and returned it to her pocket. She secured the vault door. Alexander retreated deeper into the darkness, overwhelmed. He remained uncertain of his expectations. A swift grab, a pilfered note, perhaps even a moment of wavering. Instead, what he witnessed was respect, anguish, and affection contained within self-control. He departed before she could notice the moisture gathering in his vision. That night, Alexander found sleep elusive. He continuously reviewed the scene in his thoughts. The photograph, the tender kiss, the undisturbed vault. The significance of these actions pressed upon his chest like a revelation he hadn't been prepared to face. The matter no longer concerned the examination. It involved her, regarding the type of integrity he had spent his lifetime believing was non-existent. He understood he had evaluated everyone through perspective of his previous injuries, and by doing so, nearly overlooked the exceptional virtue existing silently beneath his own shelter. The following dawn, Camilla discovered a correspondence on the kitchen surface addressed to her in Alexander's precise, bold script. The contents contained a straightforward message. Honor holds immeasurable value. However, so does serenity. You have provided me with both. Your daughters and your mother merit an existence without anxiety. Please accept the enclosed without shame. This isn't compensation. This represents gratitude. Included was a bank draft and signed amount, authorized and prepared. Camilla collapsed into the closest seat, astonished. Tears flowed quietly down her cheeks. Her hands shook as she pressed the letter against her heart. In that instant, she sensed the burden she had borne for years ease slightly. Her mother's medical care, her daughter's educational expenses, the possibility of displacement. Everything could disappear, not because she had pleaded or stolen, but because she had selected righteousness when observation was absent. That weekend, Alexander called upon her residence for the first time, not as a supervisor, but as a companion. He occupied the modest wooden furniture, entertained her daughters, and delivered portfolio containing paperwork to assist her in acquiring a new residence in a more secure area. He presented her with a new role, supervisor of household management, complete compensation with an adaptable timeline that permitted her to tend to her family. Beyond that, he extended something uncommon from someone of his status: confidence. Occasionally, the most genuine examinations aren't completed with recognition, but through silent, unobserved decisions. Sometimes the wealthiest individuals aren't those possessing the most abundant vaults, but those who exist in honesty, even when scrutiny is absent. If this narrative moved your spirit, please appreciate, distribute, and follow Untold Stories 0.4. We present genuine emotional narratives that expose the quiet strength of human nature. Leave a response below if you believe that a single act of integrity can transform everything. Before departing, share with us in the responses. What would your actions be if observation was absent?